Welcome back, everyone. Well, it will come as no surprise to anyone that violence in America today is we hear about it every single day in the newspapers and video and all over the place. And Paula, who hosts our program, Her Look, mentioned to me that she'd met these two gentlemen who were involved in a very unique self-defense program for women that we just really wanted to give you the information about. So joining me today is John Border, who's the director of the Modern Self-Defense Academy, right? And one of his instructors and friends, Dan Tuszynski. Well, welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Nice to have you here. Boy, we do a lot of interviews. This one, we were talking before we went on air today. This is information you will really want to know about. Something struck me immediately when we were talking. You said that the program is built around ABC. And
Yes.
this ABC is an important ABC. It just doesn't mean the basics, right? So John, why don't I start with you?
That's true. To give you a little background, we started a couple years ago. We decided there was a functional need for a practical women's self-defense course. So we designed the ABC Women's Self-Defense Program. Now, ABC is named for a couple of reasons. One, because it's a very simplistic, easy thing to remember. But two, the A, the B, and the C stand for something very distinctive. The A is the first part of the course that we teach, which is awareness. We'll teach women about some facts and figures about violent assault, about how to be aware of your surroundings, the kind of things they need to know to kind of avoid or stay away from getting into that kind of a situation. The B stands for boundaries. So assume someone is approaching you, you need to keep that safety zone, that safe distance. We teach some practical and effective skills and drills to be able to maintain that safety zone and to avoid getting into that kind of an altercation. And the C really is for contact. So you've used your awareness skills, you've defined your boundaries, yet for some reason or another you still find yourself in a situation where you have to physically defend yourself. The C part is that physical confrontation and the skills that we teach to be able to get out and get away and be safe.
Gotcha. We're going to go back into each one of those, but just to let you know, these gentlemen know what they're talking about. They're both multiple black belt martial arts experts. So, boy, the discipline alone over the years, what do you got, like 40 years between the two of you, I think you said to me, in terms of experience?
We've been doing it for a while.
Wow, that's unreal. Hey, Dan, let's go back to the A, awareness.
Right.
Delve into that. What does awareness mean in this context?
Before I answer that question, I just want to tell you a
sure.
little bit more about how we've designed this program. You know, John and I have trained in martial arts for a number of years, and we found that for the average person who doesn't want to dedicate themselves to a martial arts school or discipline, which takes years of training, we wanted to create a program that was designed to help people in the general population deal with situations where they might be suddenly in a confrontation.
Yes.
And so we designed it to deal with three different segments. The first one is just awareness, and what we try to do, and we've taken our program to the schools, we're doing them down in Columbia County with the local sheriff's department, talking about awareness, how you can avoid putting yourself in the wrong situation.
Right.
And we talk about all types of aspects with awareness, going out in a parking lot at dark, maybe not being aware of your surroundings, what things impact your awareness, like texting.
Right,
People
sure.
text all the time. They're on their way out to the car. They're texting a friend about the latest purchase they made. They're not aware of what's going on around them. They put themselves in a potential vulnerable situation. We've also taken that to talk about things that can impact your awareness, like drinking. People who basically take drugs lose their awareness, their ability to defend themselves. And also the latest unfortunate situation going on is date rape drugs. So we talk with young girls going off to college about the dangers associated with that. So we have a whole segment that talks about how to stay out of harm's way. That's where the awareness comes in.
Dan mentioned something when we were talking before we went on air, that women entering college, that September to January, is a particularly difficult period, and one where they have to learn some new skills pretty quickly to be able to be at a level to handle a situation if it comes at them, right?
That's very true. For example, someone graduates from school, and fortunately in the Northeast, we're in Saratoga, Albany, down where I am in Columbia County, a lot of young women don't realize the potential threats that are out there. The latest scandal on campuses now is 1 out of 4 girls or 1 out of 3 girls are going to be in a situation where they're either going to be sexually assaulted or put in a dangerous situation. We try to talk about those risks, and we try to bring that information to people going off to school, who may never thought about it. They never thought about, gee, what happens if I'm in this situation? And as John said, that first 6 months, you're leaving your home, you no longer have parental supervision, you're trying to make new friends, you're trying to fit in, you're putting yourself perhaps in situations you wouldn't have thought about putting yourself in before,
Right.
and then before you know it, it's too late. So
It's too late,
we try to
right.
bring this education to young girls.
And the problem with the 1 in 3, which is the general statistic now,
Wow,
is
it's so
that
high.
only about 5% of those assaults actually get reported. Because unfortunately, what happens when you're in that time frame and that age bracket in that environment, you may be thinking, well, you know, he did come back to my room, you know, maybe I don't want to say I deserved it, because there's no victim blaming here, but you put yourself in a situation and you rationalize what happened.
Sure.
It really wasn't a sexual assault situation.
Oh, you're guilty.
It was
Feel guilty.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. So when you think only 5% of those issues actually get reported, and in that 5%, it's 1 out of 3 college students, it's vastly wider than people are taking into account.
John, let's jump to the B, boundaries. How to establish boundaries.
Absolutely.
Recognize boundaries.
Absolutely.
Right, give me a little bit of background.
Well,
on this.
typically what I do is we define a safety zone. Now, the safety zone for most people, in other words, enough distance where I can react and respond effectively without someone getting to me first, is about 6 feet. And we typically ask people in the course, what's the safety zone? And when we approach them, they put their hand down. Well, that's only 3 feet. If I was really a bad guy, I could very easily. So it's just teaching them that is the first thing, and we teach them some verbal commands. We teach them how to raise it to a very emotional level to get a reaction out of people. I think the problem is that we start off light and easy. Please, excuse me, kind of a thing.
Yeah, sure.
If they continue to come, we don't come any closer. And then the next level is when you start getting a little more emotional on it. The challenge that I think people have with that is that they don't want to be rude. They try to be nice. Well, this guy's approaching me. If they're approaching you and they're crossing those boundaries, especially 3 times, you don't have to be nice.
That's
You
right.
have our permission to not be nice. Is one of the things that we talk about in the course, because the problem we have when it comes to establishing your boundaries, which could be physical or verbal, is that we've been conditioned and we've been socialized to be nice, to be helpful. That kind of thing. I'll give you one quick story. We were teaching a class at a college down in downtown Troy, Russell Sage College. It was a great class, great school support, everybody did fantastic. But on the way there, myself and one of the other instructors, because we do have a full staff to help with this, we're driving together, and we got lost. We couldn't find the location. It's nighttime now. It's 7:30 at night in downtown Troy, and we saw a young lady who was walking down the street, and I said, well, let me ask her where the gymnasium is. So I got out of the truck, and I said, excuse me, but I'm looking for this particular area. Can you help me? And she goes, oh, yeah, well, you want to go down a couple of blocks. And I had my phone in my hand, and I went, you mean this right here? And I literally walked right over and physically touched her. Now, she doesn't know me from anyone. I'm a total stranger at night in downtown Troy, yet she allowed me to get close enough to make physical contact. If I had a negative intent, that would have been a disastrous situation. So we use that as an example in the class. In fact, we use a lot of real-life examples in the class to really kind of bring things into context. So,
And then, of course, if the awareness level doesn't work, if the boundary level doesn't work, then that C is contact.
It is.
Right?
It is.
And you said something important before we went on air. The goal is to, in the awareness level or the boundary level, to get it done there so you can avoid the contact level. But if you have to go to a contact level, there are certain things that people can do
Yes.
to get themselves out of a
Yeah,
situation.
we try to empower our students to understand that they have certain tools available that can help them escape. And the biggest thing we're trying to do is get our students to stay out of harm's way. Awareness. You never get into a situation if you're aware and you can keep that distance. Boundaries. Somebody approaches you inappropriately. You basically tell them, you assert yourself, and a lot of this has to do with body language.
Sure it does.
Or do you look like a victim, or do you look like you're confident? We try to teach confidence. Then if we get into a situation where there's physical, we've developed a system, and we bring in techniques based on leverage and quick techniques to help you escape. We're not going to ask any of our students to go head-to-head with anybody because they're not going to win that battle.
Right.
But if they're aware that they have the ability to escape, and they can use the element of surprise combined with leverage, and this is what we try to teach in our 3-hour program.
When you're talking about leverage there, I mentioned I'd studied martial arts when I was in college. It's using someone's strength against them. It isn't that confrontation where I'm stronger than you, I'm as powerful as you, let's clash. The idea is to scope out the situation and use their strength against them.
Right.
This course, by the way, is a 1 3-hour course.
For this basic level, yeah. We do
Yes.
have other levels if people continue and they want to do additional training. But the initial course is a 3-hour course. Yeah.
The subject is important, it's fascinating, and so much to learn at any level. You could be a young woman in high school, college, but you could be middle-aged woman, older woman,
Absolutely.
right? Sure.
Absolutely. We've taught people from the ages of 12 to about 72, I think was the oldest
Yeah,
student that
I
we've
got
had.
you.
And they all walk away with something of value, which is good. So.
Well, thank you both for coming in. We just really touching on the surface of this. Each one of these topics deserves a lot more time. In order to do that, we'll push to your website. Just give me the website.
They can go to the abcwomensselfdefense.com.
Okay,
And that has all
womenselfdefense.com.
Yeah, abcwomensselfdefense.com, and that'll have all the contact information. We've got some videos posted as well and some pictures of some of our courses so they get a feel for what it's about. And that's probably their best resource. So.
Good. Best defense, right? And thank you both very
Thank
much
you.
for coming in. And we'll
very
also have
much.
the information on our website as well.
Thank
Great.
you very much. We appreciate it.
To see this interview again, head to our website, looktvonline.com.